Hi, everyone. Welcome to the May Energy Update. And I have a revelation about the April Energy Update and the April Energy that I have been given information on and seeing since last May in 2025. So I'm going to start with that first and explain because I don't know about you guys, but what I'm seeing in others and myself. And the others are folks I work with regularly, as well as people I know, family, friends, going through this journey. Aren't we all going through this journey, right? And what I would consider to be one of the most massive shifts that I've seen since I've been doing this work, individually, and then how that rolls up in the collective, as we know, it's impactful. But right now, it's very individual, but it is an energy like we thought. Okay, like we had said. I saw something really energetic in April. I didn't know whether it was going to manifest or if it was going to, be an energy that comes in and manifests down the road. Well, okay, we're going to talk about that because I want you to understand what has been brought through to me. Honestly, since I got back from vacation, I was on vacation the first 2 weeks of April, so I kind of was lost in space in the sense of I wasn't connect. I didn't feel like. I was connected. I was doing work, but not in the way that I am when I'm home. So when I came back, it was kind of like, well, okay, here we are, and then things started to happen, and revelations started to come in. So I kind of got like a break, like a real vacation, in that sense, a human vacation. So I'm going to start back and talk about how we ended up where we are in April, and we're going to talk a little bit about April experience. And wherever you fit on the continuum of that, some of you might say, this doesn't resonate at all. Well, what I would say to you is just be open to it. And I always say take what resonates, toss the rest aside, but stay open. And the reason I say that is, remember, not everybody has this happen all at the same time. We don't all have this happen. It would be too much energy. I've told you that before, right? So keep that in mind. But I have a feeling a lot of you, and feel free to share, have had or are having similar experiences. Okay, so, and there's kind of two groups that I'm noticing. And of course, there's a continuum with that, but we're going to talk about those two groups. Anyway, I'm going to start with how we got to where we are now. All right, ready to go into May and what April was like. Because I haven't done a video since the April energy update, because of course I was gone. So it really allowed me to. First of all, I didn't work with clients over those 2 weeks at all. And there was a break in between me working with many of them and then what occurred during that time for them as well. And everybody's situation is individual, but I'm going to share some of just a general understanding of that. But we're going to start first with February. As we know, the eclipses were ripe, right? Like we had the eclipses. Now, as we've talked before, we can all say, well, we have eclipses every year, but they're different because of the energetic vibe we're in or the frequency we're in or where we're at collectively. It's never just a linear approach to things, right? So, and they all also successively work off of each other and work in tandem with each other, all of the cosmic events, okay? So in February, and this all happened to me about a week ago, I started to see this. In February, the eclipses. What they showed me when I was putting together all of what I was seeing in April was this huge old castle iron door. Like in the movies where they show like these humongous, giant-sized iron doors creaking open, finally opening, right? And that's what they were showing me, these massive doors, okay? And they said, that was the eclipse. Those are the eclipses. I think it was end of February, early March. March 3rd was the other one, right? And they said that opened the door. But then they said the moons, full moon, new moon, and then the equinox brought in more doors. So we got this big gate opened up with the eclipses for 2026, because we know it's different, right? And then they showed me those doors. But then they said the Aries season and the Aries Stellium, which I didn't know squat about until about a week ago. I guess now it's probably about 2 weeks ago. when I was talking to a client about what was going down energetically. And they said, well, it's the Aries Stellium. And I go, what's that? Because you guys know I don't do astrology, but it always aligns up and I love it. But it's just not the thing that I'm studying, right? To understand. But the energies line up with that, right? Because, of course, everything's energy. And so they proceed to tell me what the stellium was and that we were right in the middle of it. I don't know. I think this was like the 15th of April and that week. And I said, oh my gosh, I said, this makes so much sense in what I'm starting to see once I got back from vacation. Because within 2 to 3 days, clients were having patterns showing up, which I'll tell you more about here in a minute. Excuse me. As well as myself and family and friends. Okay? So I'm a big picture person. That's part of the work that I do. And I collect patterns, I collect information, and then I provide that as kind of, I'll call evidence of what's going on. So anyway, they proceeded to tell me about the Aries Stellium, and that would not leave me. And so what happened in this visual that they gave me about a week ago, they then showed the Aries Stellium. And they said what the Aries Stellium did was it took all those doors that I just talked about, that they just showed me, and it lined them all up, opened them all up, like some were open, like the first gate in the eclipse, and then we had the new moons, and everything. But the stellium lined them up, is what they said. And this was so vivid to me. And then they said that Aries stellium and energy, or that stellium allowed the energy to just come through. And it just shot through during that week. And what's happening right now is we're having to adjust to this. So what happened is they said to me, the Aries stellium lined up those doors, okay, to allow the energy to just fly through. So again, this is an energetic event that I kept seeing all those months ago. It was going to land in April, and there's more to this, but that's going to land in April, right? But it said, what they said to me was, and then what's going to happen is that energy will meet everyone at the frequency or vibration as to where they're at. Okay, so in other words, it's affecting everyone. But how is it affecting us? All right? So, because there's a continuum. Depending, let's think of the most, and this is not a criticism, but the most unawake person with respect to their own selves, what serves them, all of that stuff, right? All of that, unawake, right? Not conscious at all. And just living life and making maybe poor choices, right? Well, the stellium is there going to meet them at their frequency. So, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to just give you what would seem to maybe be obvious, is they're going to have a tough time. Like that energy is meeting them at the frequency they're at. And we're all on this material plane having this material life, but we're all in different frequencies and timelines. Okay, so consequently, it's meeting us where we are at. However, it also depends on what's meant to go down for us at this time, because we can't all go at once. This is where it gets a little confusing. So anyway, they showed me that they would not stop showing me that. And then we'll talk about what that means for May. Okay, because I've already gotten some information on that. But anyway, so what I started to notice in my clients, well, in all the whole group that I just told you about, people, right? Primarily people I work with too, was that there were 2 groups. And this is just over 2 weeks. I've only been back 2 weeks. 2 groups of people. I fall into this first one, and I should probably do a video on my experience from my trip, because I think it would be interesting to you, but I also don't want to just talk about me. But anyway, point being, the first group of people are those who are kind of feeling like, wow, I mean, in more ways than they have been, because they've been used to being very active, they've been used to being very involved, they've used to being very motivated. They're not, okay? And they're just, nothing's kind of happening. And they're feeling very stationary. Well, these are some of the big players, I'll just say energetically, that have to be grounded and be stationary, okay, for the rest that are doing their thing, right? That are manifesting or creating, because you can't just all fly off into the ethers at once, right? You can't all be in the hot air balloon, right? Someone's got to hold the stanchions down, right? So the air balloon can, then they lift it off slowly and it goes, right? Anyway, point is There's a whole group of people where this month is like, okay, I'm just home. I'm doing my thing. There's not a lot going on. I do feel the energy. And that's another thing. You're probably feeling it, and it's kind of rocking your boat in whatever way that means. It might be in what you experience day to day. It might be your physical body. Like me, I get hammered in my physical body. Bad. That's what my last 2 weeks have been like. That's my story, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, point is there are those of us who are experiencing the major energy behind it, but that are rooted down for the rest of the collective. Okay? Now, there's another group, and this is, I've never seen anything like this. And I have all the clientele to back this up, where people that have been working on themselves, well, all of us have been doing this. Those of us who are in the awakening, we understand this, right? And we're reticent sometimes to work on the stuff and do the healing work and all that, but then it kind of shows up and we do it. So we're all doing it, right? But there's a group right now where that work is paying off. And I mean literally in the material world, okay? In experiences, in things they had hoped and dreamed for, they've been talking about for ages, that they've been working on really, really, really difficult early journeys, and they've had massive breakthroughs where the universe kind of did this Rubik's Cube. You've heard me talk about the Rubik's Cube. Boom. But it's big. It's big stuff. Okay? I would give you some examples, but then that to me is too much information about clients and what they're going through, right? And I don't think that's fair, obviously. But they're amazing stories. Like they're not like have been in the past, and it's a large group of people. It's happening, okay? So remember though, it's not just about them individually. As we hold, that group holds, that I just talked about, the first group holds down, hunkers down, deals with the energy, clears the energy, does the thing, right? Maybe feels really awful, but at the same time knows something's going on, because we also are getting that additional upliftment, right? But right now, we got to help them launch off, okay? The other group that's like, how do I want to say? Because, we're all connected, launching off into their new journey, okay? Now, they're still on the journey, right? Like, it's not everything becomes euphoric and utopia, but it's very different. And for a while, yeah, it's going to feel like that. And then they're going to adjust to their new frequency, their higher frequency vibration, and they're going to move forward in their journey and create more, and then continue to rise, just like we're doing, right? And it doesn't mean we're lower, we're higher. If you're in that group, it's just where we are. So you got to have part of the collective grounded in to assist the others in their journey who are now ready to rebirth themselves in that next way, right? We're constantly rebirthing, okay? We're constantly rebirthing. And so those, in a nutshell, are what I'm noticing. And there's a whole spectrum. You might say, well, I'm kind of in the middle of both those things, or I don't find myself anywhere at all. And that's okay. It's not like that's all there is. But this is what is happening big. It's a big moment right now in the collective. But the part of this that you need to know about is within all of what I just brought through, or what they showed me, was, and this is so cool, even though it probably doesn't feel like it, it doesn't look like it out there, right? They were talking to me about two energies, the energy of the old earth and the new earth. We talk a lot about that, right? But they were talking about how we have been in this, think of a tornado or a vortex. We're just use tornado as the example, okay? And we've been in, so take two, old earth, new earth. We've been in this twirling tornado together, right? And it's been very parasitic, okay? It's been very enmeshed. It's been very dysfunctional. And what's happening now, though, because of our alignments, and because, the cosmos is like a big clock. It's just like, it's like Cinderella at midnight. This is what's going to happen. That's literally it. That's what I've been told. And, again, I'm not an astrologist, but boy, I can tell you it's real. Anyway, for those of you who are, you're going to go, oh, yeah. But anyway, so they always bring astrology in as my frame of reference, but we speak to it in energetic terms. But anyway, what is happening now in April, and that's why 2026 led up to what I just told you, led up to this energetic all of a sudden we're starting to split. So if you think, and I was going to draw this, but I couldn't find my big old 3M stickies to draw you a picture. So I'm just going to show you. If you're just listening to me now, you might want to at least look at this part. So what I'm doing with because I'm doing something with my hands. So we're like this. We've been like this. And it's chaotic. It's all, ew. It's icky. It doesn't feel right. We're just kind of sinking lower and lower into this vibration, right? It's that whole patriarchy, you could go on and describe it, right? That energy, that unbalanced energy. But there's something within that wants to pull out, and that's the energy of awakening out of this sleep we've been in, right? So now we're starting to split. In April, they were showing me that we now are two like twisters. We're like two tornadoes, but we're still like doing this kind of thing and coming out of it, but we're splitting out into our own. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. But what happens when that occurs, it creates an energy between the two that is almost like, it's like it's not a vacuum in the sense that it's empty. It's a vacuum of pulling apart. So think of, I was trying to understand this to explain it, and they brought me an earthquake. And they said, well, with an earthquake, it builds up, the tension builds up those two plates. And again, I'm not going to describe this right, but those two plates like it's time to pull apart. And then when they do, there's that tension and that energy that's been created between that. That's where you get your earthquake. So what's happening now is we are within that spin of creating or of moving into old earth, new earth, okay? This energy of becoming our own new world as such, okay? But what we see out there is kind of feels like it's going to get more difficult. I mean, I don't know, could it anymore? Yes, I know it could. But the tension, the pull apart, and I think you understand that. And it's probably a physics thing. I don't know. But I mean, it feels like it is, right? But it's just pulling apart. And so what happens during that time though too, and this gets interesting, is that pulling apart causes lower frequencies to go try to attack. Okay? So some of us, not saying everybody, some of us are here to clear collective energy, to clear land energy, and I'm not warning you at all. This is not a forewarning. This is be aware of your role, be aware of what you do, especially those of you who are more mature in the process. Probably already know this, but what I'm finding is, and this is my situation, the energies that don't want us to move forward are honestly attacking us, okay? Like I get physically attacked, and it's not humorous, but it's very interesting how that happens. So it's our field, right? So our body feels it. So remember, we're as is above, so is below. So we're really working in the astral so much more than we are materially, but our bodies can feel it because we're all one, if that makes sense. But on various levels, things are happening. And energetically, what I'm getting very much is because of this split, those low frequencies are reaching out, honestly, to individuals, okay, through whatever means. And trying to pull them back in, trying to keep them from doing what they are meant to do. So be very aware of that and how you feel each day, and it's nothing to be scared of. It's energy, and it's knowing that we are honestly in a very positive place when this, I know that sounds nuts, when this is happening, and because it's the split out. And so pretty soon, I don't know what that means, but at some point, we'll just say at some point, these two now new vortexes or tornadoes or timelines, whatever you want to call them, but they show them like this with me, will split out enough that those low frequencies can't reach us anymore. They can't reach us. We're flying high over here, and they're like, where are you? Where are you? But right now, what's happening is there is the reach out and the pull in. And it can be pretty dramatic, particularly those of you who might notice this like physically. I do this work, by the way. If you need any help, I would say just connect with me and see if any of my services make sense for you. Because we can kind of figure it out, particularly if you're going through really rough times with all this. So anyway, point is, but I think this will help you, okay, just to even logically know I'm not crazy, right? So anyway, during this time that we're in right now, this is where we're at. We're at this starting to split out, and it's just really hard. It's hard on the individual, and this is hard on the collective. So remember, as individuals, we roll up in the collective. So what's happening with us is happening in the collective. So back to the point I made about my April energy update is that when I said I didn't know if this was going to be an energy that came in and we would just see the manifestation down the road, well, it's both. But the manifestation, the really positive manifestations of like new earth stuff is happening in the individual. So is this energetic situation, right? So they've always said this is a grassroots effort. It's happening with the common human. And so we're helping each other. Those of us who are grounded in, who are doing the thing, we feel like, nothing's going on, or we're having a really rough time emotionally, physically, and we're just home, grounding in, hard to do anything, tired, fatigued. And others are like, okay, kind of like, this was that they said, where is it? Star Troopers. They said they're Star Troopers, right? But you got to have somebody back holding down the fort, right? So they're the Star Troopers. Then let me see what else they said. Oh, here we go. No, this is May. Okay, so they said, anyway, that is kind of what's going on and what has been going on. So we're literally playing out what they've given me since last May. And if you recall, I always said I only get about 6 months out. I don't get the new year. Oh, no, not last year I did. And we kept saying March and April seemed very big. This is it. This is it because it's going to change the way forward. So that's really what's been going on in 2026. And then this, honestly, explosive April. And I would love to, if you want, share your experiences, if anything aligns with what we're talking about here today. And remember, it's different for everybody, but what I always find is when I hear the stories, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this fits. But it might sound super different, right? But it fits for the individual within the larger collective, within the larger energy that we're seeing, okay? So this is all good, even though I know sometimes, like, particularly for those of us who are hanging back and holding on and doing the grounding and all of that work and doing the clearing, can feel really hard, but something's changing. That's the deal. I don't know really what's going on out in the collective. As far as politics, news, I have been not there at all. Kind of one of those things where, and I don't, as you know, watch a lot of news, but usually I know kind of what's going on each day just because I can't help. Like, it just shows up. You know how that is. But that's not happening right now. So I don't know if something dramatic went down. Again, I'm filming this on the 29th. And all I will say is, you wake up every day, you don't know what's happened or decisions going to be made, right? And I know we talk a lot about politics in the global scale, but I'm telling you, we know how that impacts us, right? We know what that looks like, how that impacts us. But again, because we're moving to a new frequency and vibration, we're transcending that and we're taking everybody with us. So that's how that works. And I've talked about that a lot. So let's talk about May. Okay, so many of you know that when I do the energy updates, my whole life I've always seen a calendar, like a year calendar. I always thought everybody saw this. Maybe everybody has their own way of seeing it. They always showed it's kind of like a side kind of thing. It's January, February, March, April, and April's further away. Then it's like on its side. It's weird. May, June, July, August. Kind of like you'd see a year calendar, but they slant it. And then what they showed me, though, then they show me the month. And with May, it's a huge bright light. But I actually drew a picture of this. Where is that? It's not here. Okay. So the picture of it that they showed me was almost like a sun with just light shining on. And May is that, okay? Now, I also don't know what's going on with the solar events. I haven't looked at that lately. So maybe that's what we're talking about here too. But more of what I'm getting from that visual representation is this idea of expansiveness, breath of fresh air, finding our footing. It's a bit like, if you think of an animal, use any wild animal. Well, I shouldn't say any, many. Let's just think, I'll think of it. Elephants. Okay, elephants are a good example of this. It's like birthing a new baby, but like the animal, like an elephant. When an elephant is birthed, boom, there it is, and that baby gets picked up right away. Let's get moving. Let's get moving, and pretty soon, before you know it, it's running all over the place, like almost instantaneously, right? So we're finding our footing. That's what they're talking about. But we're kind of up and running fast. Now, whatever fast means, right? But my point is it's the breath of fresh air. It's expansive, and we're finding our footing coming out of that April birthing, okay? But we're doing it fast. Like, particularly what I'm getting are those who in April, March, April timeframe, massive things like materially are happening, okay? Beautiful shifts and changes in people's lives or awarenesses, and a lot of it is a material manifestation, okay? So they're going to find their footing in their new space, right? In their new way of being, whatever that means, whatever that looks like, okay? So we're all going to find our footing in this new energy, because I keep getting, with that Aries Stellium, it opened a door, that energy came through, and what I'm getting, okay, now they're showing this to me. You know when you open up, okay, this is what they're showing. When you open up a hose, let's say you're turning on your garden hose, and if you turn the spigot all the way, it all comes out and all the bubbles from the air come out, and it's kind of like this. That's what the Aries Stellium was like. But then as that water gets out of there, you start to figure out where you want it to flow, right? And what they're showing is then it stabilizes at that level, and the energy starts flowing. It has now found a conduit, is what they just said. It's found a conduit in us, is what they're saying. Okay, that makes sense. So it's a conduit. It's found, like, it has a conduit, but it's found like its source, which is us individually. That's fascinating. Also, our cells are shifting and changing dramatically, okay? Remember, we are connected to the field of infinite possibility of all that is, all right? So when we come from our heart space, we can connect into that field of all that is, more so than we've ever been able to. So again, this is resonant heart energy is what I'm getting. Okay, this is making sense. Resonant heart opening energy. Okay, that's why they brought that in. When they were talking about that just now, I thought, what? This feels like this is a different commentary, but it's not. It is about the resonant energy to come in, because ultimately this is all about heart space and, bottom line, love, right? And the connection into the oneness. So what they're showing is this conduit is the stellium, and I know we had the Uranus move into Gemini, and I'm not going to necessarily speak to that, but I'm not going to speak to that right now, but that has they just said a multiplying impact. Those of you who know about all that, you can share. But anyway, multiplying impact. But there's this conduit now. It's flowing. Okay, it's flowing. And it's entering our heart space. It's entering our heart space. It's a time of upliftment. It's a time of finding our footing. It's a time of expansiveness, a breath of fresh air. That's why they're showing the visual representation of so much light in May. They're like golden opportunities. And these things can be tiny little things in your day-to-day that lead to something. Don't ever think that the small things don't matter. I've always used because I hate doing errands. I don't like shopping. It's not my thing. I just don't like doing it. Some people like that. That's great. Not me. But I've also had some of my big experiences happen when I've gone out and just done regular human stuff, kind of that I don't like. But I go out with a smile and I do my thing, right? So there are opportunities in every single moment in our day. Everything can change on a dime in a minute. I was just talking to a client the other day that said, and I'm not, these aren't the right words, but it was like, I kind of just have just kind of said, all right, because you don't know what you're going to be handed the next day. You just got to go, okay, here we are. But this is a massive upliftment in general for the collective. And again, you cannot look. Well, you can, because I will tell you, I was going to say, you cannot look at what's happening, big picture, all the screaming and yelling and patriarchy and all the fear and anger. That's not what's happening out there. That's not really the world. It's just not. If you focus on that, that's what you're going to see. But I'm going to tell you, this is the time when we go out, day to day, and we have good experiences with people, your neighbors, your friends, your, family can be tough. I don't know, but I mean, people, strangers, like most people are decent to get along with. I would bet you that the majority of your experience is positive. And yet that's all we hear out there is how divided we are. Okay. And yes, I know there's some of that, but it's just not as real as what they want it to be. Okay. So understand all of what I just said is that as we transition in through to May, which sounds very interesting, actually, we do have the division happening, which is awesome. This is the first time I've seen this, and they've just represented it this way. The division happening, okay? But those low, nasty, icky frequencies are going to want to take opportunity for you or to you to grab you back and not let you do your thing. I don't know. It can show up in, those habits resurface. It's like kind of checking yourself all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's also about having your spiritual practices in place. And I will just say this over and over again, is, we have our medical practitioners in place, typically, like go-tos, right? Well, we need our spiritual practitioners in place, or not just practitioners, but practices, okay? The things you do. I don't know, I'm going to throw some things out. Meditation, being out in nature, getting energy healings. Did I say meditation? Yes. I don't know, joining a group of juju people and sharing in this vibration, right? All those kinds of things. So anyway, we're looking at May as being transformative. Okay, I need to write that down. I just got massive chills. Transformative, which really, when you think about that word, breath of fresh air, expansive, finding your footing. Yeah. So let's look over here and see. There's something else okay. They also said, and then we'll finish, star troopers jumping off the cliff, pushed to the edge and then jumping off the cliff. That's this group that's creating their new journey, okay? We're all creating our new journey forward, just in different stages, and we take on different roles at different times, so it's not linear. So it's like their turn kind of idea. So as they're going, I'm going, we're back there holding down the fort, right? So that's what they're up to, is adjusting to their new May experiences and the things that they brought into their life and the work that they've done. But we're all going to be in this process. Well, we all are in this process. Some of us did some of this earlier, right? Others of us are meant to just, this is my purpose. I am here to hold space, create a life around myself that is stable, beautiful, wonderful, all of that, go through the tough stuff, do my healing work, all of that, all right? So that's where we are. I don't think there is anything else to well, we could talk all day long, right? But right now, that's kind of, in summary, what we're looking at as part of the process of where we're going into May. So thank you so much for joining me today. You can reach me at purplerainhealing.com, Carolyn at purplerainhealing.com. You can check out all my services on my website. I can assist you in this journey forward, whether it be through one-on-one mentoring, whether it be spiritual awakening guidance, channeled messages, or energy healing for your journey forward. So again, thank you so much for joining me, and happy May, and I'll see you in the next video.